Today, we're diving into a really bold idea, something that tries to fix a problem that's been bugging the business world forever. You know that huge gap between what they teach you in school and what actually happens on the job? Well, this story is all about bridging that gap and making those smart academic ideas actually, well, useful.
So, have you ever felt this? It's super frustrating, right? You read all these incredible theories in a textbook. You think, wow, that's brilliant. And then you get to the office and it's just chaos, and none of it seems to apply. Why is there such a massive disconnect? And look, this isn't just some abstract puzzle for professors to think about. This is a real problem that costs companies time and money. It's screaming for a solution.
Well, what if I told you there's a group trying to be that solution? They're called the MC India Group, and they have a pretty huge goal: to build a permanent bridge over that theory-practice divide. But here's the cool part. It's not a one-way street. The real idea here is to create this awesome feedback loop, where what's happening on the ground in real businesses actually goes back and makes the theories themselves better.
All right, so what's the big idea here? What's the grand vision that's fueling this whole thing? Let's get into it. Okay, and what I really like about this is that it's not just a bunch of wishful thinking. Their vision is actually built on 6 solid assumptions. Let's just touch on a couple of them because they're really interesting. First up, this idea of practice-driven theory. It basically says, hey, the best, most powerful management ideas, they didn't just pop out of a professor's head. They came from watching what actually works in the real world. And second, there's this concept they call India as an innovation lab. The thinking here is that India's economy is so dynamic, so fast-moving, that it's the perfect place to find and test new solutions that could work anywhere in the world.
And this quote right here, this really sums it all up. See, it's not just about making management better inside India. It's way bigger than that. It's about saying, hey, the world should be listening to what's happening here. India can be a source of incredible new ideas for everyone, a place where that on-the-ground experience and local know-how can actually make global management thinking way, way better.
Okay, a big vision is great, but you know what they say? A vision without a plan is just a daydream. So how are they actually going to pull this off? Well, they've got a 5-step mission.
Now, the first thing to get is that this isn't just a to-do list where you check off boxes. They see it as a complete cycle, where each part feeds the next. It all kicks off with getting people to talk. That conversation leads to real changes in business. Those changes then give researchers something to study, which sparks brand new ideas. And boom, you're right back at the beginning, but smarter. It's a loop.
So let's trace that loop step by step. Step 1, create these forums where people from the trenches, the practitioners, can actually talk to the consultants and the academics. Step 2, take what you learned from those conversations and use it to make management better in the real world right now. Step 3, turn that real-world knowledge into high-quality scholarship. Step 4, and this one's so important, is getting it out there, not just in obscure journals, but in places like Harvard Business Review, so everyone can access it. And finally, step 5, all of that hard work sparks even more research. See? It's a complete self-sustaining ecosystem for cooking up better ideas. So we've got the vision, we've got the mission, but the devil is always in the details, right? Execution is everything. Let's look at the actual blueprint for how they're going to get this done.
And you know, before we even get into the nuts and bolts, I think it's really cool to look at the values driving all of this. Because it's not just about being the smartest person in the room. It's about having the humility to learn from others, the guts, what they call cognitive boldness, to actually challenge old ways of thinking, and most importantly, a laser focus on making a real impact. That culture is absolutely the foundation for everything else.
Okay, so strategic axis number 1. This is all about community. The plan? Simple. Get the doers, the advisors, and the thinkers all in the same room, or, the same Zoom call, talking about the same problems. The goal sounds simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Just get everyone speaking the same language. All right, once they're talking, it's time to move from conversation to creation. That's strategic axis number 2. Here, they're forming these mixed working groups to roll up their sleeves and tackle actual, messy, real-world business challenges. And the goal isn't just to write a paper about it. Nope, it's to build and test real solutions that you can actually use. And finally, strategic axis number 3. This is where they close that loop we were talking about. It's all about taking everything they've learned from the real world and channeling it back into the world of academia. So, they're setting up writing groups, they're hosting this special incubator conference, and it all has one very specific target: creating some killer papers for the big Academy of Management conference in 2027.
Okay, so you're probably wondering, who's behind all this? An idea this big needs some serious horsepower to get it off the ground. Let's meet the leadership.
Leading the charge is Professor Vikas Rai Bhatnagar. And honestly, if you were to invent a person to lead this project, it would be him. His background is the perfect embodiment of what they're trying to do. Get this, he's an Army veteran, a top corporate executive, and a respected academic. He's literally lived in all three of the worlds they're trying to connect.
I mean, just look at his resume. It tells the whole story. He served in the Indian Army, then spent nearly 20 years in the corporate trenches at huge companies like Bayer and Dr. Reddy's. Then he goes and gets his doctorate and becomes this well-respected scholar. He is the bridge. He's not just talking the talk, he's walked every single step of it.
And a really important point here, he's not doing this alone. The MC India Group is backed by the Academy of Management, which is basically the biggest, most prestigious organization for management scholars on the planet. That backing is huge. It gives them instant credibility and a global stage to work from.
All right, so we've seen the vision, the plan, and the people behind it. Let's just step back for a second and ask the big, so what question. Why does any of this actually matter?
When you boil it all down, what they're really trying to do is change the entire process of how we create knowledge about management. The whole point is to create theories that aren't just stuck in an ivory tower. They want them to be useful, to be grounded in reality, and to reflect ideas from all over the world, not just one part of it. At the end of the day, it's about building better tools so we can all create a better way to work.
And that just leaves us with one final, pretty exciting question to think about. If they can really tap into all the practical wisdom and raw innovation happening in one of the most dynamic economies on Earth, could this project do more than just close a gap? Could it actually change the way business is done everywhere? We'll have to wait and see, but it's a powerful thought.